At a party full of my husband's friends, I tried to kiss him while we were dancing. He pushed me away and said loudly, "I'd rather kiss my dog than kiss you." Everyone burst into laughter. Then he added, "You don't even meet my standards. Just stay away from me." Their laughter grew even louder. I pretended it didn't hurt and smiled calmly, but when I finally spoke, my words sliced through the room and the laughter died instantly. I stood in our bedroom, the emerald green dress clinging to me like a second skin, its price tag more than most people's rent. Caleb chose it, of course, but never once said it looked good. The mirror reflected a woman I barely recognized, draped in a costume for a role I'd forgotten how to play. Behind me, Caleb adjusted his collar for the 17th time. I counted, because counting his obsessive tics was easier than dwelling on the chasm between us. 5 years ago, he'd bragged about marrying a surgeon. Now, my career was a secret he coached me to bury. "Just say you work at the hospital," he'd said, his voice sharp as he scrolled through his phone. "Don't mention running the cardiac unit. These people don't care about medical stuff at parties." His words stung, reducing my years of training, 5 in medical school, 3 in residency, 2 leading one of the best cardiac units in the country, to a footnote he didn't want shared. I smoothed the dress, its fabric cool against my palms, and tried to anchor myself in the moment. "I saved a 12-year-old boy today," I said softly, testing him. His mitral valve had been a mess, but we'd fixed it. His mother's tears when I told her he'd be okay. They were real, unlike this charade. Caleb didn't look up. "That's great, honey, but nobody wants to hear about blood over cocktails. Stick to light topics, the weather, maybe that new restaurant." The weather. I could have laughed, but the weight of his dismissal pressed against my chest, heavy as the surgical instruments I wielded daily. My phone buzzed, a message from my team. The boy was stable, asking about baseball. That meant more than any party invitation, but Caleb's rules forbade me from saying so. "Also," he added, glancing at me through the mirror. "Not directly," Marcus asked about the Hamilton fundraiser. "I said we'd take a table, it's 50 grand, but it's important for visibility. 50,000 for his networking, while the pediatric ward begged for 30,000 in equipment the board called too expensive. I'd planned to donate myself, but apparently our money was already spoken for." "Ready?" he asked, already heading for the door, not waiting for an answer. I followed, the obedient accessory, my heels clicking on the hardwood like a metronome, marking time in a life I no longer recognized. The elevator ride to Marcus's penthouse felt endless, Caleb droning on about his colleagues. Tom Morrison closed a pharmaceutical deal. Congratulate him, but don't ask details. Avoid Jennifer Whitfield if she's drunk, she gets chatty about her marriage. I nodded, but my mind drifted to the boy's mother, how she'd blessed me in 3 languages, her hands gripping mine. That was real. This, playing the perfect wife, was a performance. Caleb's hand grazed my lower back as we entered the building, not affection but positioning, marking me as his while keeping me at a calculated distance. "Smile more tonight," he whispered as the penthouse elevator opened. "You looked miserable last time." "These are important people, Claire. My career depends on them. His career, not ours. Never ours anymore." The penthouse glittered, all marble and crystal, the air thick with perfume and ambition. Marcus greeted us, his eyes sliding past me. "Caleb and Claire," he said, my name an afterthought. I was the +1 now, the silent partner in a marriage that had become a transaction. Jennifer approached, air kissing my cheeks, her champagne flute tilting. "Claire, darling, that dress is divine. Caleb has such good taste. Even my appearance was his achievement, as if I were a mannequin he'd dressed." "Thank you," I said, my voice measured, a tightrope walk between too much and too little. Caleb interjected when Marcus asked about my work. "Claire works at the hospital. Not runs the cardiac unit, not saves lives, not earns twice his salary, just works at the hospital like I pushed a mop." I stood there, champagne in hand, smiling at people who saw through me, and decided tonight would be different. I'd try one last time to reach the man I'd married, the one who'd once brought me coffee after 16-hour surgeries, who'd bragged about my skills. If this failed, and part of me knew it would, I'd know I'd tried everything. The room shifted as the lights dimmed, the music slowing to something intimate. Couples drifted to the cleared space near the terrace doors. Marcus led Jennifer with ease. Tyler whispered something to Sarah that made her laugh. I watched them, their effortless connection a stark contrast to the emptiness beside me. My wine glass felt heavy, useless, so I swapped it for champagne, the bubbles sharp against my throat, a distraction from the ache in my chest. A piano melody filled the room, close to the song from our wedding reception 5 years ago at the Drake Hotel. Not identical, but enough to tighten my throat. That night, Caleb had pulled me onto the dance floor at 2 a.m., both of us barefoot, drunk on love and possibility. We're going to have everything, he'd whispered. Kids, a house with a garden, Sunday mornings on the porch. The memory pushed me forward. I touched his elbow, interrupting his conversation with Bradley and some client. Dance with me, I said, my voice softer than I meant, more plea than invitation. His jaw tightened, but he couldn't refuse without losing face. Gentlemen, duty calls, he said, his smile cold. His hand on my waist was perfunctory, his body stiff, maintaining a distance that screamed indifference. The Patterson deal looks promising, he said, eyes scanning the room, not me. I tried to pull him closer, searching for a flicker of the man I'd loved. He resisted, his fingers tapping impatiently against my side. Around us, couples moved with warmth. Jennifer's arms around Marcus's neck, Tyler brushing Sarah's hair back. I leaned in for a simple kiss, the kind married couples share in soft moments. Nothing dramatic, just a reminder we were still us. He jerked back, his face twisted with disgust, as if I'd offered him poison. I'd rather kiss my dog than kiss you, he said, loud enough for the room to hear. Laughter erupted, sharp and cruel. Marcus nearly spilled his drink. Bradley clapped like it was a show. Caleb, emboldened, added, "You don't even meet my standards. Stay away from me." More laughter, a whistle, a phone raised. Were they recording? My face burned, but my body went cold, pinned by their amusement. The room spun, not from champagne, but from clarity. Every red flag I'd ignored, the canceled anniversary dinner, the separate bedrooms, the perfume on his clothes, the mysterious credit card charges, assembled into truth. I'd been trying to revive a corpse. Something shifted inside me, a cold resolve beneath the humiliation. Their laughter faltered as my smile changed. Not the polite one I'd mastered, but something sharper, born from a place they couldn't touch. You know what, Caleb? My voice was steady, clinical, like I was delivering a diagnosis. You're right. I don't meet your standards. His smirk widened, thinking I'd surrendered. Bradley chuckled. Marcus raised his glass. They thought they'd won. Your standards, I continued, pulling my phone from my clutch, require someone who doesn't know about the Fitzgerald account. Caleb's face drained of color. The room went silent, ice clinking in a glass. What are you talking about? He stammered. I swiped my phone with deliberate slowness. Your standards need someone who hasn't spent 3 months documenting discrepancies in our accounts, who didn't hire a forensic accountant when 50,000 moved through Cayman shell companies. Jennifer leaned in, her face alive with shock. I showed the screen, audit reports, bank transfers, fake conference dates, Owen, Bradley, March 15th, 3:47 p.m. Kim. Should I play the recording of you discussing how to destroy evidence? I pressed play. Caleb's voice crackled. Wipe everything before Davidson checks the books. Transfer it through the subsidiary. A glass shattered, punctuating his confession. Marcus stumbled. Jennifer gasped. Your standards, I said, my voice rising, also need someone who doesn't know about Amanda. Sarah turned to Tyler, whose face paled. The 23-year-old intern, Tyler's cousin. Caleb's been visiting her every Thursday. I scrolled to texts. Can't wait to be done with this boring party. Claire's so desperate it's embarrassing. Jennifer read over my shoulder, whispering, Oh my God. Then louder, to Marcus. The pills missing from our cabinet. You said you didn't need them. Caleb lunged for my phone, but I sidestepped, surgical precision guiding me. The Whitman portfolio, I announced. Check your statements. The returns? Creative mathematics. The money's in Panama. The FBI knows. Caleb's voice broke. You're lying. I showed the federal prosecutor's confirmation. Arrest warrants for Monday's partner meeting. The room erupted. Marcus shouting about his father's money, Sarah slapping Tyler, Jennifer screaming about pills. Caleb sank into a chair, his world collapsing. Oh, and Caleb, I said, my voice cutting through the chaos. Your mother knows. Eleanor's accountant had found pension fund discrepancies. His legs gave out. The man who'd called me less than a dog, now small and pathetic. My heels echoed on marble as I walked out. The crowd parting, some with shock, others with respect. In the elevator, I gave myself 30 seconds to shake, gripping the rail as adrenaline ebbed. At 30, I texted my lawyer. It's done. File the papers Monday. I drove home alone, the dark house unchanged but heavy with finality. I packed Caleb's life, his Harvard diploma, cufflinks, suits, his father's watch, into boxes, each item a prop in his performance. His texts flooded in. Please let me explain. You've ruined my life. I'll make you pay. We can fix this. I let them pile up, evidence of his desperation. The wedding album, buried under tax documents, stopped me. That woman in white, radiant with hope, stared back. I cried for her, for the faith she'd lost, not for him. Emma, my sister, arrived at 2 a.m., finding me asleep among boxes. She made coffee, and we planned, lawyers, therapists, a new life. Monday, I operated on a 17-year-old basketball player, his parents' hope anchoring me as FBI agents raided Caleb's firm. In surgery, every cut was precise, a meditation against imagining Caleb's face as his world ended. 7 hours later, the boy's heart beat strong. Beautiful work, Dr. Rodriguez said. He'll play college ball because of you. In my office, Jennifer appeared, makeup streaked, in a Target sundress. Marcus was arrested, she said. They took everything. She confessed to laughing at me, calling me the Ice Queen. We were living the same lie, but you saw it. Caleb's mother called, apologizing. I hired an investigator. I know everything, the affairs, the theft. I'll testify against him. Months later, in a courtroom, I delivered my victim impact statement. Caleb treated cruelty as entertainment, humiliated me publicly, tracked his lies in spreadsheets. The judge sentenced him to 7 years. The women I'd united, Sarah, Margaret, Patricia, Linda, held hands, survivors of shared betrayal. That night, we toasted to justice, to survival, to never being silent again. Amanda, pregnant in Iowa, was writing a book, Standards, about men like Caleb. A year later, I toured Marcus's penthouse, now for sale. The marble felt smaller, less intimidating. I didn't need to own it to know I'd conquered it. My article in the New England Journal of Medicine sparked a movement, doctors and lawyers sharing stories of abuse hidden by success. I spoke at conferences, my words freeing others. At my father's 70th birthday, David Patterson, the prosecutor, became a friend, not a lover, valuing me as an equal. I joined a healthcare policy committee, choosing systemic change over personal glory. The woman on that dance floor, desperate for a kiss, was gone. Caleb's cruelty didn't break me. It shattered the shell I'd lived in. Real power came from choosing myself, speaking my truth. Some words sting, mine cut deeper. I am enough.